Right, hello. Yeah, I'm just starting a new project now. I'm just sort of doing a bit of prep work for it. As I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, motorcycle related videos before the camper van and all that, I bought three rolling chassis for Honda H100a motorcycles. They were all in a right old state. So I had these three rolling chassis, one engine between them, which was a bit of a rattle box. Obviously, all of it's rusty. It's been left outside for decades. So I'll sort of show you what I've done so far for prep work. It's now sort of mid-June, so I'm not going to start building this thing proper, or at least I'm not intending to, until the end of the summer, but I might get a gust of wind in my sails, who knows. So I'll take you through what I've sort of done with that pile of rust and what it's looking like now. So, as you can see there, that's the remaining. This here is a CG 125 tank, and there's a CG 125 wheel, front wheel with drum brake, which I bought recently just on Facebook Marketplace in preparation for this, because as you can see there's six wheels there from the original rolling chassis. All the rims totally corroded, like through. So they're just no-goers. Obviously I could use the hubs, drum brakes, etc. But I'm not going to bother, because it's cheaper and easier to just use CG wheels second-hand as and when I get them. There's two tanks there. I've sent one of them off for blasting. It hasn't come back yet, because I may end up using the original tank. I may not. It depends how it all goes. These are the two other frames and various bits, swing arms, etc. I've picked the best of the three frames and swing arms and, general sort of chassis type stuff, because it's all in a bit of a state. The frames themselves are solid, but all the other bits, centre stands, swing arms, etc., so some of them are rusted through. Engine. The engine was recoverable. I didn't actually do the work myself. I sent it to a mate of mine and just got him to look through it, see if it was a goer. I did actually buy extra bits. I've got a new head there. I bought a new piston rings, new gasket kit, etc. He basically took it apart, saw that it was okay, needed a bit of work, but saw that it was a goer. So he then changed the bearings, basically put it back together. So that should be ready to go once I've wired it up, put it in, etc. So I've had that done. And here you can see, hanging up, I've just had these bits back from the sandblasting guy. You can see here is the frame, swing arm, rear rack was chromed, badly corroded, so that's all done. This is the rear mudguard. As you can see, it's very badly corroded. It's had a patch repair at some point, but that'll be actually okay. I'm going to all these hanging up now, I'm just going to paint them with some straight to metal paint. I'm not going to bother spraying this time, because most of this stuff, this is pretty good stuff. This is Leyland Specialist paint. It's direct to metal. Obviously these have all been blasted, so they're good to go with regards to paint. I'm just going to paint with a paintbrush straight on. I'm not going to muck around in rattle cans and that. Most of this stuff, it's just the chassis and sort of metalwork. I'm just going to do the whole lot black, gloss black. Most of it's going to be hidden with the rest of the furniture of the bike, the seat, tank, all the other stuff that goes on. So I'm not going to muck around with this. I'm just going to do it the easy way, and I think quite a good way. Unlike the other bikes, which is basically all this blue you see, with the exception of the tank and the swing arm, that's all a one-piece frame. So it's not really hidden, it's on show. So you've got to be a bit more sort of careful with that. And the orange one there. But it's a bit more forgiving, this, because it's more of a standard bike setup. As I say, it's an H100a. It's a two-stroke 100cc motorbike. I would have liked to have kept going with the C series, those, but they're getting too expensive just for projects. Just a rolling chassis project are getting silly money now. So I got those 3 rolling chassis for the H100a for 400 quid with one engine between them. A lot of it's junk, a lot of it's going to be chucked away. But yeah, so job for today, because they're just back from the blasters, those. On these bikes, I did all the work myself on this orange one, including blasting down the frame. I had to do it outside because it obviously won't fit in my blaster, my sandblasting thing over there. So I did that outside in the sun, in the summer, recycling blasting media, etc. You know, I did it, great. I'm not going to do that again for the sake of sending all the parts off. 100 quid, they come back done. I'll do the little bits here, things like the triple crowns or triple clamps, whatever you want to call them. All the little stuff, this kind of business. Hub units, etc. Anything I can do that'll fit in my blaster, I'll do myself. But you know, the other stuff I'm just going to farm out because for the sake of 100 quid, it's not worth it. Believe me. This here is the footrest piece. As you can see, it's sort of bent out, and this is hollow. Annoyingly, it's been welded there. But it's not straight, so before I paint, I'm not just going to paint that, I'm going to heat it up with some MAP gas and see if I can bend it straight. I'm expecting this weld to fail, so I might have to do a bit of mucking around with that, but I'm going to MAP gas it, bend it, see what happens before I paint that. We shall see. But yeah, everything else you see here you've got the torsion bar, brake pedal, and the rest of the bigger bits, which I showed you. And still away, needing a little bit of repair, is the centre stand, which I want to keep. I do like having a centre stand with the bike, because it just makes servicing it, parking it, etc. just so much easier. So yeah, I'm just going to lick on some paint, straight on, no primer, no nothing, just paint straight onto blasted frame, which I need to do, because they're freshly blasted. Any moisture, these will instantly rust. So that is this project started, and me with me paintbrush out. Okie dokie, I shall let you know how I get on. Right, that's a surprising success. Because of this notch, this little thing out the bottom, I couldn't put it in the vise properly, so I just used 2 bolts to hold it sort of away and in the middle. I got this cherry red hot, and I've managed to bend it a bit, just enough actually. That's fine. You'll sort of see if I come back a bit. See, it's obviously been knocked over a few times. This side, this end, I'm not bothered about. I know that'll bend. I'll just map it up with my good old magic map gas, and the top will be fine. You can sort of see that just needs to sort of bend down a bit, which is fine. So I'm quite happy with that. This dodgy weld here is pretty strong. I put a lot of force on that to bend it back. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I was expecting that to fail, but it didn't. Boom. Right, pretty much same again now on this side. As you can see, because of the way this is, I've just chucked a bolt in there to sort of hold it back so I can clamp it in the vise. What I'm going to do with this, I'm going to heat it. This whole bit here needs to come back, so I'm going to heat up this area here, and I've got that's just the handle from my, you can't see it over there, my trolley jack. So I'm just going to apply a bit of map to this area and just pull back this until it's level. I'm hoping that should be reasonably simple. see. And there you have it. Happily popping away there in a reasonably straight manner. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to get painting now. Right, there you go. By the magic of YouTube, that is all those done now. Painted very roughly. One coat of that straight to metal paint. That's directly onto sandblasted metal. No prep whatsoever. The only bit that needs a bit of filling perhaps is this rear mudguard. As you can see, very rough. I've just slapped it straight on. It's a rough first coat, nice and gloopy. You can see the paint's everywhere. Quite a quick job. I'm not really mucking about with this. Like I say, most of this you won't even see. Obviously all this lot here, you know, that'll all be covered by a tank, side panels, all the other furniture on it. You're not going to see most of this, so I'm not going crazy with this. And there's no point. This is going to be some sort of resto-modded. I'm not going for an original, originality. Some sort of Concours H100a. Even if I did manage that result, the bike wouldn't be worth that much. It's not, for example, as sought after as the C series, those two bikes. It'll be the same kind of thing. I'm not sure on the design yet, but these two, obviously I've got orange and blue there, quite retro colours. So it'll be on the same theme, lots of black. As you can see, I tend to go for that look because it's easy and quick, and it's just what I do. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much what it'll be. So there'll be some kind of primary striking colour, maybe obviously to go with the orange and blue that I've got, maybe a yellow, maybe a sort of cherry red, green, something like that. You know, one of the main sort of colours that you can think 70s, that sort of thing, even though this is a 1980 bike. So it will be tax exempt and MOT exempt when I've done it. So yeah, not really sure how the design's going to pan out yet. That is actually an H100s. It's a slightly later model. You've just got two sort of down supports from the frame. It's largely the same bike. It's got a tank, just a single petrol tank. There's a oil fuel mixture bottle behind one of the side panels, as opposed to a dual tank which I've got on mine, which I may or may not use. Obviously that isn't actually a C90, that's a Yamaha sort of town mate kind of thing, but that's your classic step through, which orange and blue are. So this is more of a standard designed motorcycle. That's largely what it'll look like. Proportion wise, not sure if I'll use the side panel. Like I say, colour scheme for the tank I'm not sure of yet. That'll just happen as it happens, basically. So there isn't really a plan for this. Not, end result kind of thing. I largely know what I'm going to do, but I just haven't decided on paint finishes and colours and all that kind of caper. So like I say, roughly painted all of those with that magic paint. That'll cure off nicely, and then I'll just go around and touch up the little bits that I've missed and apply second coats of paints to certain things, like for example the rear luggage rack, just because it'll get a lot of use on the top. Potentially it probably won't, because it's just going to be a muckabout bike like the rest of mine. They're just sort of DOS about bikes, show type bikes. I'm not going to use them for commuting. So yeah, I didn't really intend to get cracking on this. I took that in for blasting. It's now Tuesday. I took that stuff away for blasting to this guy I use on Saturday and said, look, there's a load of crap, get it blasted when you can fit it in. There's no rush for this. And he called me back a couple of days later, yesterday, saying it's ready. So I've gone down and collected that, and I needed to paint it because it's just bare metal. So there we are at the moment. I shall keep you posted on project Honda H100a.